Do you want to show your ex that you understand your mistakes and that you've really changed? This isn't an easy topic, but today we're going to discuss it in real detail. You'll find out why you should never, under any circumstances, try to convince your ex that you've changed. At least not directly. I'll tell you exactly how to start working on yourself so your ex actually notices your change. And most importantly, I'll show you 5 ways to show this change on the outside without losing your frame of being a challenge. My name is Robert Marshall, and I am the founder of the Institute of Relationship Psychology, where together with our entire team of psychologists, we help save relationships after a breakup, where only one person wants to fight and the other is completely withdrawn and openly says they don't want anything anymore, that they don't love anymore. And in these kinds of situations, we really get good results. We have a program with a results guarantee. That means you'll get your money back if, with our help, you don't manage to win this person back. You can see the details at institutesvzkacute.pl. But I'm telling you this so you know that everything you're going to learn today has been tested in practice on many stories, literally thousands of cases. Let's start today with why, under no circumstances, should you directly tell your ex how much you've changed. There are 2 reasons for this. First of all, if you directly, face-to-face, say something like, listen, I've really changed, I've understood my mistakes to your ex can sense your intention, that you want to get back together. You're not saying this for no reason. And when your ex senses that you want to get back together, that you're trying, it kills your frame of being a challenge. And unfortunately, it's harsh, but we don't appreciate what we have within arm's reach. Your ex might only start to feel something for you again when they feel like they're losing you. And the second reason is when your ex sees that you have an agenda, that you want to get back together, you come across as untrustworthy in all of this. It's a bit like when a used car salesman is praising the car you're looking at, and if you know he wants to sell it to you, you're naturally a bit skeptical. You know there's some kind of agenda behind it, so it's hard to believe. And it's the same with your ex when it comes to you. You'll seem untrustworthy if your ex feels that you still want to get back together all the time. However, what works best is to first create a frame of challenge. That is, to show your ex that you don't want anything anymore, that you're living your own life, that you're happy and satisfied, and that you're not trying to win them back. And then, at the same time, not directly, but rather subtly and in passing, you can show in various ways, which I'll explain to you in a moment, that you really have changed, that you've understood a lot of your mistakes. And that's when you become much more credible and much more convincing. It's just like if that same salesperson wasn't talking about the car he wants to sell you, but about a car that's already been sold, one you can't buy anymore anyway. And suddenly, when you hear information from that same guy, everything he says seems much more credible, because you know he has no stake in it anymore, since you can't buy that car anyway. Okay, now let's move on to the second issue. To show your ex how much you've changed, you really do have to change. For example, all participants in our 3-month program go through workshops with psychologists, with an NVC trainer, and through workshops on the most important relationship skills, complete with a daily training plan. Thanks to this, you can acquire the most important relationship skills in a relatively short time. Let me now present to you the 5 things that are most worth learning when it comes to personal change after a breakup. Number 1, how to manage conflicts using the win-win method. Not by insisting on your own way, not by giving in, and not even by compromising. Learning this win-win method will solve most conflicts in your relationship. Number 2, learning nonviolent communication in a relationship. That is, how to communicate with your partner, how to talk about your needs and what matters to you without triggering aggression or a defensive reaction from the other side. Number 3, how do you diffuse such attacks? If you learn this skill, then even if the other person doesn't have any communication skills, but you learn to hold back that first impulsive reaction, which, let's be honest, we all have programmed into us, your partner might yell for a bit, but it's hard to have an argument alone, so you'll drastically reduce the number of fights in your relationship. 4, how to nurture a friendly bond in a relationship. This is something nobody ever teaches at. And if you don't take care of that friendly bond, the foundation of your relationship, sooner or later, your relationship will, unfortunately, enter an empty phase where you'll feel more like roommates than partners. 5, how to stop tying your happiness to the current state of your relationship. In other words, how to stop blaming your partner for how you feel at any given moment. It's not an easy skill, but it's incredibly liberating and will give you a lot of peace of mind. which you'll really need throughout the whole process of getting your ex back. Of course, there could be a lot more things to learn, but these are the basics I suggest you start with. And the good news is that once you master even just these 5 things, all your relationships will change, not just romantic ones. And practically everyone around you will notice that something about you has changed for the better. Just see how going through such a change affected one of the participants in our program. For me, it was like a miracle, I swear. It was like some kind of magic. He immediately started responding differently to my messages. What's also very important, besides working on yourself and gaining those crucial relationship skills, is to dismantle those extra logical obstacles that, first of all, might have led to the breakup, and second, could now be stopping your ex from coming back to you. Most often, these are all kinds of addictions. From serious ones like alcoholism, gambling addiction, workaholism, even to lighter ones like being addicted to your phone or social media. And now, on one hand, when you start working on yourself, gaining all these skills and breaking down those logical obstacles, the people around you will usually notice your change. And there's a pretty good chance that your ex will find out about it too, even by accident, even if you don't make any effort to let them know. However, you absolutely shouldn't count on that. It's definitely worth helping this process along. And here, I can suggest 5 basic things that will make your ex notice your change on the outside more quickly. Number 1. Show on social media that you're working on yourself, that you're changing, that you're happy and satisfied. For example, you can publicly post a photo or a status where you directly say that you're starting to fight your addiction, any addiction that might have bothered your ex, and that you've already managed to stay clean for a certain amount of time. Even if it was something embarrassing up until now, admitting that you had this problem and that you're now fighting it is a really powerful statement that will push you to actually stick with it, because it's a public confession, a public declaration that you're not going to do it anymore. So not only will it help your ex see that you're changing, but it will really help you stick to this decision and fight this particular addiction. 2. Just show your life on social media, even if you haven't done it at all until now. This will be a chance for your ex to actually start seeing what's going on in your life, no matter what it is, whether you're going on a trip somewhere or just lying around reading a book. It's best if you can even see and read what book it is, and it's a book about relationships, so that your ex is aware that you now have an interesting life, that you're happy and satisfied, even if those little things you post don't always show some big change. Honestly, it would actually be weird to post only about how amazingly you're changing. Most of these things should be completely normal. You can post an interesting video you saw on YouTube, an inspiring quote, really just about anything, actually. The main thing is to keep sending out some signals so your ex can be reminded of you. Even if you're blocked everywhere and your ex doesn't follow you anywhere, their friends will still see what's going on with you, and there's a good chance they'll mention it to your ex. And what's important is that even if you haven't posted at all until now, and it might seem weird to you that you're starting to do it after the breakup, it would actually be really arrogant for your ex to think that you're doing it only and exclusively for her. So even if she might have some suspicion that it could be about her, she'll never be completely sure of it. And what's much more important is to give her those signals, those cues that show how great your life looks now, and at the same time show that you're learning, that you're working on yourself, that you're changing, because in the long run, that's really going to bring you some tangible benefits. If you have any contact with mutual friends, talk to those people about all the good things that have been happening to you lately, about how calm and happy you are, because you always need to show your challenging frame, even around your friends. And by the way, you can mention to them that after the breakup, you understood a lot, that you started learning, that now you're gaining relationship skills so that your next relationship will be much better. And there's a pretty good chance that these people will tell your ex themselves, but under no circumstances should you ask them to say it directly or explicitly pass on this information, especially if they're more your ex's friends than yours. 4. And here we have one small exception. If you have a good friend of your own whom you really trust and who also happens to still be friends with your ex, you can bring them into this topic of getting your ex back. Tell them how important this challenge frame is so that with good intentions, they don't tell your ex that you actually still care about her. They need to know not to say that your ex really has to feel like she lost you for anything to come out of this. And when you bring this trusted person into the situation, then that person can go directly to your ex and say that you've really changed, that you started working hard on yourself, that, I don't know, you're working with a psychologist, that you're taking some course, that you're doing all this for a new relationship because now your emotions have settled down. You're happy, you're satisfied. But this is the best message your ex can get, that you don't care anymore. You're living your own life, you don't want to go back, but at the same time, you're working on yourself. This is the kind of combo that gives the whole message the most credibility. And because of that, your ex will think about you much more often. And thanks to this, it will be easier to reconnect when the time finally comes to reach out to her. 5. And finally, if you have contact with your ex here and there, maybe because of taking care of the kids, if you see each other and have a chance to talk for a bit, or you call each other from time to time, even if it's just about different matters. And if your ex asks how you're doing, then you can casually mention that things have been going great for you lately, that you're happy, satisfied, and so on. So you show that you're in a good mood, that you're not sitting around crying, but on the contrary, everything's just fine with you. You need to always maintain that challenging frame so your ex doesn't feel like you're sitting around sad, that you're miserable and want to get back together. Instead, it's just the opposite. Everything is totally fine. And then, in passing, you can mention that you read some great book, that lately you've been working with an awesome psychologist, and that's why you're in such a good mood now. You can also show those changes, like how you broke a bad habit. It's been X days since you last drank, or I don't know, since you stopped spending time on social media, or stopped gambling at casinos. Anything that will also break down those logical barriers. Just make sure to really focus on maintaining the challenge frame, because it's a pretty delicate matter. If your ex senses that you're trying to convince them that you want to get back together, it's gonna backfire. But if your main goal is to show that everything is going well for you, and you casually mention that you read something interesting or that you're working with a psychologist and it's great, then your ex won't get the impression that you're trying to get back together. If you're in a situation where you're fighting for the love of your life and you truly care about someone valuable, I invite you to visit institutesviascos.pl to book your first free consultation and see if you even qualify for our program. If you get accepted, then our entire team of psychologists will be there to support you, and we'll create a personalized action plan for you. You'll be able to consult and update it week by week, and we'll help you step by step to respond appropriately to whatever is happening in your situation. This will really drastically increase your chances of winning this person back. And besides that, of course, we'll help you go through this deep personal transformation, understand the real reasons behind the breakup, and gain the most important relationship skills, which will truly impact your whole life, not just your romantic relationships. So go now to institutesvyaskov.pl and book your first free consultation. Thanks for today. Talk to you soon. Robert Marchell, institutesvyaskov.pl.